You're listening to the Sports Brothers podcast by Sam and Brian Dostler. Everything sports, all the time.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Brothers podcast. As always, I am Brian Dostler, and my co-host and brother, Sam Dostler, is back. He took the day off on Friday to go some golfing, Sam, and welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks. It means so much coming from you.
Oh, I appreciate it. And how'd you hit him on Friday?
It was a scramble, and somehow, some way, I became the best player in the group. Doesn't happen too often, but from about 125 in, even stretching it out to 150 on some shots, I was absolute money. 12 under as a group, finished one back. I became the mulligan guy. It was like I was living in a different golf world for a few hours.
You were just playing out of your world.
Yeah, it wasn't me. So they have the couple people I played with, my dad and then some people in his business world. They have a very lofty thinking of me as a golfer, something that a feeling that far exceeds my talent.
Your actual capabilities.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2014, and it is 11:52 a.m. And a lot has been going on in the sports world as usual. And today's show will be discussing LeBron James, who just recently, about a few hours ago now, just recently opted out of his contract.
No surprise.
No surprise. Carmelo Anthony did the same a few days ago. Tim
Little
Duncan.
bit of a surprise.
Tim Duncan, he picks up his option.
No surprise. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah. The sad news of former Baylor star Isaiah Austin. That would have been a bad time to say that. USA-Portugal, MLB players quitting the use of tobacco. Travelers Championship and the College World Series, and of course, we'll finish the show with Stump the Bro. But first, we're going to get right to it. LeBron and Carmelo, they both opted out. LeBron, as I mentioned, he opted out earlier this morning. He had $20.5 million on his contract for next season and $22.1 for the 2016 season. Sam, I think LeBron will end up staying in Miami. I think the reason why he is opting out of his contract now is so he can restructure his deal, take a little pay cut, and have either guys re-sign in Miami or have stars come to Miami.
Yeah, it's definitely the right choice. If you're LeBron James, do you want me to talk louder?
Yeah.
Or should I turn on my mic?
Turn up your mic.
Turn up my mic. All right, this is we don't have a producer or anything. We don't have an intern, so this is how we got to do it. Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Do you want to restate the question for me?
Yeah, I'll restate the question. So we're talking about LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. LeBron, he opted out.
Good radio right here.
Yeah. LeBron opted out earlier this morning. He was due $20.5 million next season, $22.1 million for the 2016 season. I think he's staying in Miami. I think he's going to restructure his contract so other stars can sign in Miami, or that players can re-sign, such as Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both for LeBron James right here. He has the ability to re-sign with Miami, and no team can sign him for more money than Miami. So he opts out. It gives the Heat that flexibility to make some moves, to get more pieces for them to be better than they were this past season, when, of course, they lost to the Spurs in the NBA Finals in 5 games. But at the same time, if the Heat don't move in the right direction, say Dwayne Wade wants a max deal, Chris Bosh, who knows, we don't know what he wants to do yet. Say the Heat are not moving in that right direction, then this gives him the ability to go somewhere else and continue his career there. So I think it's the expected move by LeBron James, and it's the right move by LeBron James.
So you think he will be elsewhere in the 2015
No,
season?
I didn't say that at all.
Okay.
I think he did it because it gives him the two options. If he had just taken the option, then he'd be locked into Miami. But now he can sit back, kind of wait and see what the Heat do. And if he likes what they do, he can re-sign with them. If he doesn't like what they do, he has the option, the ability to move on to a new city. I think in the end, though, he's going to see that his best spot is Miami. I mean, they've gone to 4 straight finals, and the East, you can go to another team in the East, but right now I think Miami's structured best for him to make runs down the line.
Let's be honest. He is LeBron James. Stars can come to him. He doesn't necessarily have to go to another
Right.
team, another city.
Well,
There's
I mean, just think
players
about it,
like
like
a
a guy
Carmelo.
like Ray Allen.
Right. Okay.
Took less money to come to Miami to play with LeBron James, and he got another championship out of it.
So, I just think if LeBron goes to a third different team, that's where I think the hatred of LeBron is going to come back again.
But you have to look at it in this way. In this day and age, it's become all about the rings. If you don't win championships, you're looked at as a much less player.
You look at guys like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. They all did it with one team. They all did it with the Celtics, the Lakers, or the Bulls. They all did it with one
it's
team.
a different day and age, though, now.
But you weren't alive back then.
Free
You can't-
agency is much different now.
It
than
is
it
much
was then.
different because it's much more money throwing around. But I just think his legacy would be not as good as those other players. If he goes back to Cleveland, that's different. If he goes to Cleveland because he wants to make amends or however you want to put that, and goes to Cleveland, okay, that's fine. But if he goes to Chicago, Los Angeles, and any other team, I wouldn't have respect for him because
But it's built up so much where if he doesn't win the rings, he's not considered a success.
like you said, he's been to 4 straight NBA Finals. He's been put in that position with Miami. He should have
But if he
confidence enough.
doesn't,
He should have confidence enough that
Dwayne Wade isn't nearly the player that he was.
he's not.
He plays somewhere. He's played like 50 games during the regular season. He's on and off the court. Sometimes when he plays, he's not completely there in the finals. He couldn't do a thing. Chris Bosh is a 6'11" guy that stands outside the arc, and he's only getting older. It's if he doesn't like the direction the Heat go this offseason, and with so much emphasis on his legacy and rings and winning championships, who could blame the guy if he did go somewhere where it gave him a good chance to win again?
I think we both can agree that the Heat could look completely different next year.
They could.
You got Shane Battier, who looks like he's going to retire. Ray Allen, he's not sure he could be retiring. You don't know what Chris Anderson's going to do, and then
I think if LeBron comes back, Ray Allen comes back.
Okay, so what about Bosh and Wade?
I think
Because
it all hinges on Dwayne Wade. What Dwayne Wade decides to do is going to determine what these 3 guys do. We knew LeBron was going to do it and take less money if he needed to help the roster. Chris Bosh has indicated that he will do the same, but there's reports saying that Dwayne Wade wants a max contract. He's not a max deal
he's not
guy
a max
anymore.
guy anymore.
He was when he signed this contract, but he's not anymore. You remember the old commercial? I think it was around the time when he won that first NBA championship when he had Shaquille O'Neal 2006, and it was fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. That's his style of play. He's taken a lot of bumps and bruises, and he just can't play that style of game anymore. He's not a max guy, and if he takes a max contract, there's gonna be less roster flexibility, and I think you're gonna see a guy like LeBron James seriously consider moving to another team.
Okay, so say that Dwayne Wade isn't cooperating with the Heat organization, and they don't give him max contract. So you're saying that the big 3 will be on 3 different teams next season?
It depends what Dwayne Wade does.
That's what I'm saying. If Dwayne Wade is, that upset with the organization, he's saying, all right, I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to get a big contract somewhere else. What's that going to mean for LeBron and Bosh?
I'm not sure what that's going to mean for LeBron and Bosh. I'm just saying that a lot of it hinges on what Dwayne Wade does and what sort of contract he's looking at. Is he in it for the money, or is he in it to try to win?
It seems right now he's in for the money.
Right. So we'll see what happens. He has a few more days to figure out what he wants to do here, and it'll be interesting. And this comes out at an interesting time with the NBA draft coming up, and we'll see what happens.
And the other guy, Carmelo Anthony, he opted out a few days ago. He had $23.1 million left on his contract for next season. He is a unrestricted free agent, so he is free to sign anywhere for any amount of money. And Sam, I think Carmelo will leave New York. Not even Phil Jackson, Derek Fisher I don't think, can pursue him to stay in New York, come back to New York, because Carmelo's a guy that doesn't have any rings. He has only won one or two playoff series in his career, and obviously he wants that championship ring. He is not going to get it in New York. I really don't think that he averaged 27 points a game last year, 8 rebounds a game for a team that didn't make the playoffs, for a team that wasn't even close really to making the playoffs in a
weak East Division.
In a very weak
East Conference. And you know, you look at a guy like Carmelo Anthony. He's 30 now. He's
getting old.
This is his last big contract, for one, and really his last chance to get onto a championship caliber team. And if you look at the New York Knicks, even with Phil Jackson and keep in mind, Phil Jackson, this is a guy who's never been an executive before. He's never done this sort of thing before. Derek Fisher, a first-time coach. There's not many other pieces on this team. Amari Stoudemire, he's old. He's past his prime. Tyson Chandler, same. You don't have a point guard. So you look at this New York Knicks team, and you say, and if you're Carmelo, you're saying to yourself, you know, I just don't see a championship happening in the next 3-4 years. And those are the final 3-4 years of his prime. He's got to go somewhere where he's earned the right. He deserves the right. That's what free agency is all about. And he should pick a spot where he thinks he has the best chance to win an NBA championship.
I agree with that. The Knicks, they had 52 wins a few years ago. Last year, obviously, to make the playoffs, a struggling year.
And then they took 7 games to beat a old, beat-up Celtics team.
Yeah. And it's a rebuilding year in New York. It's a transition year, maybe again for the Knicks. And I just, like we said, he needs that NBA championship, and he needs it now. He needs it as soon as possible. And places like Chicago, places like New York, maybe another big 3 goes to Los Angeles for the Lakers. Who knows what happens there? But he needs to get out of New York, because in the near future, the Knicks are not winning an NBA championship.
And you mentioned the Bulls, and I'm not so sure. You know, that's the team that's been floated around a lot. It's a defensive-minded team, and it's also playing for a coach that plays his starters a lot of minutes. Tom Thibodeau likes to ride his starters a lot, and you've seen players wear down for him late in seasons. Joakim Noah has been beat up at the end of years a lot. Luol Deng. You got the Derrick Rose injuries. Not that you can blame the most recent one on the heavy minutes, because it came so soon after he came back. But Carmelo Anthony, a guy who's had trouble finishing seasons the last few years, because this is a guy who, even though he is just 30, turned 30 at the end of last month, he's been playing in the league for a long time now. Came into the league after his freshman year in Syracuse, so he's given a lot of minutes, 10 years in the league, and a lot of those years in the high altitude of Denver. So there's a lot of mileage on that body. So I don't know if Thibodeau's the right coach. I've heard Houston floated around. That would be very interesting. There would be a lot of personalities in that locker room. And keep in mind, Houston, lower taxes there. If you do go to Houston. So it is an attractive market to big-time players.
All right, well, both of these players will officially become free agents.
And he could be reunited with Jeremy Lin.
That's true. Both of these players will officially become free agents on July 1st at 12:01 a.m., so let the bidding start then. All right, Tim Duncan, he does the opposite of LeBron and Carmelo. He picks up his player option for next season, $10.3 million next season. So there goes any speculation of the 38-year-old retiring, Sam, and it's good to hear that he's coming back.
It is great to hear he's coming back, and really, you heard the talk a lot during the season. If they win the championship, is this going to be it for Duncan? And then as they went through, especially that final series against Miami, I got the feeling more. Initially, I kind of felt like he would ride off into the sunset, but as I watched him play throughout this postseason, and especially in the finals, didn't you just get the feeling that this guy was having a blast? I mean, it also helped that they were up by 30 points most of the time. It's easy to enjoy yourself when that's the case, but he's still playing at a high level. Should have been on one of the 3 All-NBA teams. He nearly averaged a double-double this season, while playing less than 30 minutes per game. His production's still there. Obviously, doesn't have the explosiveness that he used to. Isn't as quick, but the big fundamentals still gets it done. And that team is just so good. They should have won the finals 2 years ago. They won it this year. They're going to have a lot of those guys back. Greg Popovich is going to come back, and you have a chance to go for 2 in a row this year. So why not come back? And once you stop, you can't play again. So you might as well play for as long as you can.
This past season, he averaged 15 points and 7 rebounds a game. And looking at his past few years, 17 points 2 seasons ago, 15 points, 13 points. I mean, it's not like it's a huge decline for Duncan. And I mean, yes, he's 38 years old, but hey, he's performing at a high level.
The only reason there's decline is he's playing less minutes. I mean, he played less than 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
That's where the decline comes.
And he played in 74 games out of 82. So I mean, there's some games where Greg Popovich just sat all the starters.
And sat all the starters, and then there's also games where if they're down big or up big, he'll just pull them all. He'll just take them out of the game, and they're done. You see it in the playoffs, and it happens throughout the season too.
All right, now to some sad news, Sam. Isaiah Austin. Some very unfortunate news. He found out the other day the former Baylor star and NBA draft prospect has been told by doctors that he can no longer pursue his basketball dream. Austin, 21 years old, has been diagnosed with Marfan syndrome, which means if he works too hard and overexhausts himself, his heart could erupt. And that's some very, very tough news. Austin, he averaged 11.2 points per game and 5.5 rebounds during his sophomore year last year for Baylor. He was projected as a late first-round pick, and this is a guy that already has dealt with a prosthetic right eye. He was blind in his right eye.
Freak way that it happened.
Yeah.
ESPN did a story on it during the season, and no one knew for the longest time. I mean, outside of his immediate family,
yeah,
Baylor didn't know when they were recruiting. He went up for a dunk in like 8th grade or something. Duncan in 8th grade, but whatever. And he felt something in his eye, and he eventually did go blind in that right eye. And it's just too bad. I mean, you never want to hear the news, but if you're Isaiah Austin, you almost want to. I don't know if you want to hear it after the draft, so you hear your name called.
I was thinking that too, because
but then you put the team in a really tough position.
Yeah.
And he's a good. He can step out, knock down the 3-pointer for a 7-footer. He's got a big athletic frame. Once he put on some muscle, I think he would have been a pretty good NBA player. A guy who, especially in this day and age where you stretch the floor with the pick and pop with your big, he would have been an effective player. Not a star in the league, but definitely I think a guy who would be able to grab you some rebounds and give you solid minutes, probably off the bench or as a 4th or 5th option in a starting lineup for a good team.
I'm not sure if you saw the interview with Holly Rowe a few days ago, but I mean that was just one of the things he said. I was 3 days away from hearing my name called at the NBA draft.
It's just
it's so tough. I bet I hope a team will like sign him for like a 1-day contract or something. I don't know, maybe something like that. But I mean, if they're again.
Yeah, it's just you talk. He's 21 years old and he's about to accomplish what to this point in his life has been a lifelong dream of being drafted by an NBA team and playing in the NBA, and just to see that opportunity taken away in literally a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And it's because it's crazy because he went through all the obviously the pre-draft workout, everything, and for it just to happen while you're knocking on the door of your dream, and that was, although it was just a 2-3 minute interview with Holly Rowe on ESPN.
Oh, it's emotional.
It's emotional.
I mean, it was the day after he found out.
And
so
you normally, that's one of the more emotional report. You see the reporters get a bit emotional sometimes, but that one was one of the more emotional ones that I've seen.
I mean, obviously,
it's such a tough position for Holly Rowe. Obviously,
very
tougher for Isaiah Austin, but 21 years old and seems he's well spoken. He conducted himself as well as anyone could
in that situation.
So I think hopefully he can go back to Baylor, get his education, and
Yeah, I heard he is, since it was his sophomore year, he's going to go back and complete his degree. He's going to be a
an
coach,
assistant
some
with the
type of
team.
assistant coach for Baylor. And he also received an insurance policy of $1 million, which is because of his condition. That's the reason why he gets it. And he also, we mentioned the eye, Sam, but he also had shoulder surgery last fall. So, I mean, three different injuries or, just
And he went through so much to be so good with just one eye.
just one eye. Yeah.
And it's just really disappointing.
All right, we're going to shift our gears to, I didn't mention this on the top of the show, but not sure if you saw it actually, Sam, but USC is going to offer 4-year scholarships to football and basketball players. So this would grant, I'm assuming that players would have to stay all 4 years in.
I don't think so.
So then, I've been trying to read the article as been talking, but it's going to start July 1st, and it's given to players that play football and women's and men's basketball. And they're saying that this may be a trend starting for college sports, and we'll see if it keeps rolling.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. I think it not eliminates, but it lessens maybe the want for players to transfer in. I think it's good for the school because they're showing more faith in the athlete and saying, we want you, we're going to guarantee you the 4 years. I like that move a lot.
All right, so that was just a quick thing.
Like
on
you said,
that.
it just came out, so
Yeah, it just came
I
out.
haven't read up on
Yeah,
it.
I haven't really read up on it either. So, you were listening to the Sports Brothers podcast, and you can listen to our show off our Twitter page at Sport Brothers and off our website, thesportsbrothersblog.wordpress.com. And Wimbledon, that started yesterday, and it's obviously going on today.
Rafa Nadal in a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah. Tsonga, he went 5 sets yesterday. He came out with a win. Djokovic, he steamrolled to the second round. Federer, he's playing right now, but I saw he was at 5-1 the first set. So.
Federer rolled to the second round.
So Federer is in the second round. And Sam, we had a pretty eventful weekend with our cousin getting married. Congratulations to Zach and Megan. We've mentioned.
I'm sure they'll be listening.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Zach appreciates that. But it was a wonderful time. I showed off my dance moves a little bit.
You did. You went. Because we were both in the wedding. You went down that aisle when we got introduced at the reception, and you busted it out, and I was like, I'm done. I don't have a chance.
Oh, it was good to see the family and everything, and can't wait for the 5th of July.
Yeah,
The 5th, not the 4th.
Not the 4th this year.
All right.
Warming up that volleyball wing.
Yeah, and croquet and bocce and all that good stuff. All right, so now quitting tobacco. It's come up a little bit in the coming days since the great Padre Tony Gwynn passed away, who I talked about in our last podcast. As last week he passed away at the age of 54 years old, and it was due to the fact because he smoked or chewed smokeless tobacco. And already there are 2 players in Major League Baseball that have quit in the 10 days or so since the passing of Gwynn. Arizona Diamondbacks closer Addison Reed and Washington Nationals ace Steven Strasburg have both decided to quit the use of tobacco. These 2 were college teammates at San Diego State. I think this is good, Sam, because obviously tobacco is bad for you. Will this be a trend in Major League Baseball?
I think it will be. And, you say it's good, but it's good coming out of a very unfortunate circumstance.
Yes.
I know you talked about Tony Gwynn on the podcast last Friday, so we're not going to get back into that too much. But a lot of times something like this sheds a brighter light on the issue of whatever it may be, and in this case, it's chewless tobacco. And I definitely think this is going to be something that continues to be a trend. Players are going to try to quit. And these are the only couple guys that have come out publicly. I'm sure there's other guys that are seeing that, and they're like, all right, let's because and we're up here in Connecticut watching the Red Sox for all those years.
Terry Francona.
I know other players, but Terry Francona had a pretty public, I would say.
Every year he would say he would be
right,
quitting the off season, but
and he never does it in the off season, and he would try to quit during the season by going to gum and different things, but he hasn't been able to do it. Fortunately for me, playing baseball, I got hooked on sunflower seeds.
Well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's safe.
yeah. But I hope it's a trend. I hope the MLB can spin this in a positive way, and I'm sure they will, to make not only current major league players and minor league players aware of it, but also little league, American Legion high school players, college players aware of the harms of smokeless tobacco and turn it into something that can prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I mean, tobacco and it's just kind of what it is for baseball. I mean, baseball players, coaches, they kind of just, I guess, grow up with it. They may start in high school, probably most likely college, and obviously the major league players when they continue through the minor league system and whatnot. Um, and it is good that like you said, Sam, I hope they do something that prevents that trend from stopping because obviously it can harm you, it can kill you, and proven with Tony Gwynn. All right, the Travelers Championship in Cromwell, Connecticut. That happened this past weekend. Kevin Strumelman had a Sunday to remember as he birdied the last 7 holes to win the 2014 Travelers Championship. He was 6 strokes back at one point, but with those
I
7,
think 7 actually.
so was it 7 at one point?
He was at 7 under, and there were 2 players at 14 under.
Okay.
I think it was Sergio Garcia and Aaron Badley who were both at 14 under at that point.
But he did finish at 15 under and edged out KJ Choi, Sergio Garcia. They both were at 14 under, and Aaron Badley, who was at 13 under. Ryan Moore, he was the leader of the start of the leaderboard on the day of the final round, but he shot one over, making him finish tied for 5th at 12 under. Sam, you were there for the majority of this tournament. How did you think it played out?
I think it played out as this tournament usually does. It usually comes down to the wire. A lot going on. It's a great finishing stretch over at TPC River Highlands. You got 15, the short par 4, that's drivable. Then you got 16, the par 3 across the water, the signature hole 17, the par 4, where your second shot has to carry the same water that you have to carry on 16, and then 18 is a fun amphitheater finishing hole. And there's a lot of birdies out there at TPC River Highlands. You've seen minus 20 win before. You've seen players go really low, but for a guy to finish with 7 straight birdies, first time in tour history, just quite impressive. So it was from 12 to 18. He hit about a 35-footer on 16 that was up the hill, down the hill to the right. And, you hear about athletes getting into the zone, and that's what Streelman did. He absolutely got in the zone, second career win. And for a lot of the afternoon, it looked like it was going to be a 3-horse race with Sergio Garcia, KJ Choi, who seemed to be the crowd favorite, and Aaron Badley. These guys, they stayed within one or two strokes of each other all afternoon long. And then all of a sudden, Streelman, who was at 9 under, I believe, to start the final round. 9 under to start the final round. All of a sudden, you see the scoreboards posting that he had 5 straight birdies. And then then I saw the birdie he made on 17 to make it 6 straight birdies, and then a few minutes later, a huge roar from the 18th green when he made his 7th straight. Just a phenomenal finish, and 3 players had chances to match him on the final hole. KJ Choi had a 40-footer that just missed, gave a great run at it. He tapped in for 14 under, and Sergio had about a 30-footer that he started too high to the left, and then Aaron Badley, He had a chance to tie as well after birdieing 17, but his drive went into the right rough, couldn't reach the green on his second shot in his short chip attempt from about, 80 yards, something like that. Short of the green, didn't go. But as always, fun tournament, a lot of excitement happening, and great crowds. 65,000 people estimated there yesterday for the final round, and the tournament continues to grow. Great field this year, and looking forward to it next year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how many people you thought were estimated there.
They said 65,000 on Sunday, and I haven't seen a number for the overall tournament, but they think there's going to be more than the attendance last year of 300,000.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It draws big crowds.
No, it does.
You're missing out.
Hey, I had a double header on Sunday.
Yeah,
We
but you
had
could.
Zach's wedding on Saturday. Friday,
Yeah,
we had the rehearsal, and I had the podcast. Someone had to do the podcast.
yeah.
All right, USA-Portugal. That was a frustrating tie for U.S. fans, for everyone across America, as it was the game ended in a 2-2 tie after Cristiano Ronaldo had a beautiful pass to a fellow Portuguese teammate who had a header, and that was literally the last play of the game. It was about the 94th minute of the game during stoppage time, and it tied the game. And it seemed that Clint Dempsey had sealed the deal after scoring a goal in the 83rd minute. Now they turn their attention to Germany, who they will be playing Thursday noon ESPN. Uh, it's simple as this: if they're still in very good position to advance to the knockout stage, Sam. If they win, they advance. If they tie, they advance. But that header, that tying goal, could come back to haunt the U.S.
It could. They literally they had it
They had it in their hands.
nearly sealed, signed, and delivered.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah.
They had it signed.
Okay, just go.
Whatever. Okay, we're just gonna move on from that. I was trying to get cute with it.
Yeah.
But it feels like a loss, but still a great situation for the U.S. to be in. If you had thought that they would have 4 points going into the game against Germany, a lot of people would have thought you were crazy. Even if they do lose the game, they have a chance to move on to the knockout stage via
With
goal differential. So the U.S. they really want Portugal to win that game because the U.S. has a 4-goal advantage over Portugal, who lost 4-0 to Germany in the opening round game. They have a 1-goal differential against Ghana. And then if Ghana and Portugal tie, they're through as well.
Yep.
So a lot has to go wrong for the U.S. not to advance.
Yes. I mean, first they would have to lose, and then mention the goal differentials and how the loss would have to happen. So they are still in a good position, but to be so close, to be ever so close,
it's tough, especially where they were playing.
Just to clinch it.
Especially where they gave so much energy in the playing in the Amazon rainforest, the 80-degree weather, 90% humidity, or whatever it was. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do bounce back.
And about an hour ago it was announced, Jurgen Klinsmann announced that Josie Alter will be out for the Germany game, which is a tough blow. The hamstring injury that he hurt early in the first half against Ghana, he still is not going to be playing in this Germany game. You know, hopefully, if the U.S. were to advance, hopefully he could be there for the first game of the knockout round. But only time will tell. But we will be watching that game, and again, it's Thursday, noon Eastern Time on ESPN. All right, we're going to move to the College World Series, where it is the finals now, Vanderbilt versus Virginia, and Game 1 was taking place last night. It's Game 1 of a 3-game series, and Vanderbilt, they had a 9-run third inning, and that propelled them to the victory over Virginia 9-8, so all 9 runs came in that third inning. Vanderbilt, they're going to look to sweep tonight in the 2014 College World Series, as Game 2 will be 8 o'clock on ESPN. Sam, it's a tough road for Virginia. 9 of the last 11 teams that have won Game 1 of the College World Series has gone on to win the whole thing.
And they came so close to coming back in that game after getting behind 9-2. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. I'm sure they'll be ready to go. And it was a bit of a flashback game, wasn't it, last night, to those games at Rosenblatt Stadium before they changed. It has more to do with them changing the bat than changing the stadium. Obviously, now they use the BB core bats instead of the composite bats and the live bats they used a few years ago when it was almost impossible to get someone out. But a good, entertaining game last night, and I would like to see it go 3 games.
Oh, me too.
It's always more fun when it goes 3. Pulling for Vanderbilt, though, although I would like to see them get a little splash of Vandy color in those uniforms.
Yeah, you were upset with it was American colors that they were going for.
Which is fine. I don't have an issue with the American colors, but I feel like it's the College World Series. You want to display your school color. I like the Vanderbilt color scheme. So
as I mentioned, Game 2 will be played tonight, and actually last night. Don't know if you saw the box score, Sam. Virginia, they had 15 hits. Vanderbilt had 6. So a 9-hit differential, but Vanderbilt obviously had one more run there. So Vanderbilt will look to clinch it tonight. Again, game 2 will be 8 o'clock on ESPN. All right, now here comes Stump the Bro.
It's time to Stump the Bro. And here we go, Stump the Bro. So last time, obviously, we took Friday off because I was on the golf course. We both got the question wrong for the first time when we did it. What was it, last Monday?
Yep.
So it's 3-3 right now. And I'll get things started. MLB trivia question.
Hopefully it's not the same as mine because I also have an LB trivia question.
The Manager of the Year award
Okay.
was first given out in 1983. Who was the first manager to win the award in both leagues? Jim Leyland, Bobby Cox, or Tony La Russa?
It's not Bobby Cox, as he only managed in Atlanta. I'll get confirmation after that. I'm pretty sure he was only with the Braves. And then Jim Leyland, who Tigers, and who was? Can you tell me who the national
He was
team
with
was?
the Pirates.
The Pirates. And then the third choice
Was La Russa,
was
the
La Russa,
Cardinals and the A's.
And the A's. I'm going to go with my first instinct, Jim Leyland.
Bobby Cox.
Who did he?
1985 with the Blue Jays.
He was a Blue Jays coach, really? I never knew that.
And he then won it 3 times with the Braves in 91, 04, and 05.
All right, well, let's see if you can take your first lead. Which pitcher allowed the most hits to Tony Gwynn? Your 3 choices are John Smoltz, Tom Glavine, or Greg Maddux.
So this is all from the same pitching staff.
Yes. Coincidentally. John Smoltz, Tom Glavine, or Greg Maddux.
John Smoltz.
Nope.
Is it Greg Maddux?
Yep.
See, I didn't say Maddux because, well, I should have because his batting average was so high, but I didn't think you'd go that obvious. I didn't say Glavine because lefty.
Okay. See, when I was getting this question, I was like, okay, I have to pick National League pitchers. And so I just typed in best pitchers in the 1990s and on Bleacher Report and just went through a slideshow and just happened. I mean, I could have picked Herschel and Randy Johnson, but I chose Smoltz and Glavine.
I wouldn't have. I would have eliminated those 2 right away.
Yeah, that's kind of why I also figured. So,
especially because they came in a little later.
Yeah, that was also the other reason. So, Greg Maddux, he allowed 39 hits and 94 at bats. So Tony Gwynn had a .414 batting clip against
and never
Greg
struck
Maddux,
out, right?
And never struck out against him. Pretty remarkable. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Thank you for listening to the Sports Brothers podcast. As mentioned, you can listen to our show off our Twitter page at Sport Brothers or off my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and every once in a while Sam shares it. And then you can listen to the show also off our website, thesportsbrothersblog.wordpress.com. I apologize for the lack of articles. I may take that page down. It looks like I'm not going to be doing any of those. But, hey, Thursday, we're going to do a special podcast. We're going to be talking exclusively only about the NBA drafts, and Sam and I are going to give you our predictions about where players are going to end up, including, I was going to say DeAndre Daniels, but Shabazz Napier, Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Dante Exum, all those guys. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to also break down a little bit of the USA-Germany game. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, have a wonderful day, everybody.